We are live. What's up? We are doing a new thing. I'm so excited. It is called First Monday because it's the first Monday of the month. Woohoo! And this happens to be the first Monday of the year. I was going to say decade, but no, that would be 2020, which is perfect because we're going to talk about 2020 and we're going to talk about your 2021. So if you've been joining us, we've been doing the weekly trainings of creating your roadmap for 2021. This will be the first of 2021, not the first day, but the first Monday. And so every Monday, we are going to be doing so many live trainings like throughout the month that we decided rather than do the weekly trainings, we're going to do the first Monday so that everyone knows that particular Monday, we will be doing a free training. And then we'll have all kinds of announcements and things throughout the month. But that's where we're going to come together every single month and start you out with, start you out with our Monday getting going. Hey, Doug, Happy New Year, Doug. Woohoo. He's a January baby, too. That's coming up soon. So we're excited about jumping into this new year. And just a heads up, mark your calendars for, I almost said March 13th. January 13th will be our first masterclass. We're going to bring it back. We'll be back noon on January 13th. Mark your calendars for that. But today we're going to be talking about your 2021. What can we do to help you get this amazing 2021 going, like figuring out what it is that you want to do. So I highly recommend that you go to hollywoodgatekeepers.net, and I can put that up here, hollywoodgatekeepers.net /2021 roadmap. Actually, let's do this. 2021 free look, because that will give you the handout for today. And so I'm going to share it with you if it works. I'm going to share it with you, and we're going to walk through some questions today, because what we did is we built like how you can build your goals for 2021. But as we talk about building goals, I want to just kind of start out with the idea that sort of, well, I don't know if we can all agree to this, but something that just to kind of get your head thinking about New Year's resolutions, New Year's goals, we're going to do this year, whatever. And that is, as I was looking at kind of how I wanted to inspire things we might do to kind of help everyone just, recover from the PTSD of 2020. I think we all have that. And I've seen as people are starting to plan 2021, they're more tentative than I've ever seen. Usually it's like, here we go, good riddance to that last year, which that happened in 2019. Good riddance to 2019, 2020 is going to be so great. Well, then it was like, oh, well, here's what could actually happen. We could, our lives could drastically change within a year. So I've noticed as people are planning 2021, there's a little bit of like not wanting to double down on a plan. It's really interesting, right? And so I just wanted to speak to that a little bit, mention it, because the more that we actually look at things, we have the look method, look at what's happening, the easier it is to process everything. So as we move forward to recognize that, yes, 2020 dealt us a left turn like we weren't expecting. So, but that doesn't mean that, we just throw it all willy-nilly. But I think what it can do is actually help us all sort of relax about the kind of pressure we put on ourselves to do things by a certain time in a certain way in a certain day and all of that. You still want to be moving forward. You still want big goals. You still want to just do the things that you want to do, but to marry it to a specific timeline and a date and like New Year's, I think can add anxiety in the realm of where we are these days. So as we move forward, so that got me studying calendars and, what's the deal with calendars and how we've all agreed upon the 365-day thing makes total sense because it's based on or revolving around the sun, the whole globe and everything, and seasons and all of that. And then, but even that shifts every year slightly, right? So we have a leap year to try and balance it. But over time, eventually, and I read one article that said it's like another 1,000 years or something, they're going to have to add another day or something. It's slowly changing. So the idea that we have this calendar and the idea that we have New Year's and New Year's resolutions. I mean, we already in here do Happy Half New Year to help people halfway through the year, 6 months into the year, July 1st is Happy Half New Year, because we're trying to get that same kind of energy and motivation that happens at the New Year. And I love the idea of new beginnings and new moons and all of the things that help us create. And I'm not going to lie, I felt some relief when we got into 2021, even though December 31st, 2020, January 1st, 2021, not a big difference between I actually was writing a screenplay over the New Year. So really was not a big difference from one day to the next. However, I love that idea of shedding that. But can we do that more? Can we shed that and kind of more try to live in that space that we live in on New Year's Eve of like, let's go of the old that doesn't work for us. Let's grasp onto the new that does work. There's no reason why we only need to do that on New Year's. So when we look at calendars and how we've all agreed to this, New Year's, I mean, could have been the winter solstice, I mean, the spring solstice, or it could have been like we decided on when the new year began. So it could have happened at any time. Same, like I always joke about age, like we just decided that you turn a certain age after this much time, and we could decide that you turn that age after twice that amount of time. Like it's just, we've all agreed, and we need to agree on things like this because it creates, order, and it makes it so that we have certain things in place. It makes life easier because, as we've seen, people don't respond well to change. So we want to like have a security base as much as possible. So these rules make sense, but I just want to get your head thinking a little bit about not being so, if there's any anxiety at all about what you need to create in the new year, to try to let that go and realize that this is just a construct that we're living in. And actually, Julius Caesar named the month July after himself, and then August is his son, I think, like his heir. I think maybe it wasn't a son, but it's an heir, and so they named August after Augustus. It's like, okay, so this is clearly a construct that we've been putting, a person-made construct. So as we look at what you want to do in 2021, I just wanted to kind of shake it up a little bit with that idea, and then also, as we move forward, I love all the happy New Year's, already doing it. Love it. Love it. Hi there. So as you look at your 2021 and what it is that you want to accomplish, so much can be determined by the question that you ask. And Tony Robbins often says that the quality of your questions determine the quality of your life. And this is such, his nephew, thank you. This is such a good way to look at things. And I really believe that if you ask a better question, sometimes we're just not asking a good question. We're also asking questions that we say we don't know the answer to. If you answer questions like, what do you want to do this month? What do you want your goal to be? And you don't know, then ask yourself again, well, what would it be if I did know? Whenever you come up with, I don't know, just think to yourself, well, what would it be if I did know? And usually like some random answer will pop up in your brain. Because you do know things on an intuitive level that I think sometimes we don't give ourselves credit for. You know what you want. It's just there's a lot of obstacles sometimes that keep us from that thing. What is it that you want? So I'm going to take you through these really spectacular questions I'm going to share my screen if I can. And then you can get this at HollywoodGatekeepers.net. Free look. Hold on. Let me share. Oh, goodness. Oh, there we go. Oh, that's so cool. They have a new thing. It's all snazzy. I love it. So these are really great questions to ask yourself. And I highly recommend you take, it doesn't take all that long. It'll take about 25 minutes. So it's basically the idea of the writer's rule, because you're all writers, which is first thought, best thought. So whatever comes to mind first is usually the thing that you have more ingrained and present for you. So you might even surprise yourself. And definitely when I did this, what was really great, like I got halfway through and I was like, wow, I have a far more positive outlook on everything than I thought I did. And I know I'm in here constantly coaching and that kind of thing, and it's kind of sinking in my own life. But was like, wow, I actually like have shifted massively in how I trust and how the smile, melt, allow, relax, trust. I say that all the time whenever I'm feeling anxiety. And now with my coaching that I'm going through, I'm learning even more. Pardon me. I'm learning even more ways to deal with that. So deal with emotions, deal with whatever, anxiety. And so as I was going through this, I was so excited by the end of it. So I'm hoping that you have the same experience, but even if you don't, whatever experience you have, it's all just information. We're just using the look method to look at where we are so that then we can set our GPS to where we want to go. So as you do this, you only spend like 2 minutes, literally set a timer, just spend a couple of minutes on each question. First thought, best thought, or right at the top of your head, what comes to mind? And so when I just kind of shoot out these questions, just you can think about it. If you want to put anything in the chat, you can, whatever. But when you think about what happened in 2021, what happened? When you think about, and this is for every year, I mean, it's significant here because there was so many changes and so much things shifting this year. But what happened in 2020 in general? When you think about the world, your community, your, kind of outer circle, that kind of thing, what happened? And then what did you learn about that? And again, first thought, best thought. You're going to go through these questions. So what did I learn about that? Which is really interesting when you think about, when you start looking at it from that perspective, because already it's shifting some of the things that happened into some of the takeaways that we can take that will help improve our lives. And then what did you learn about yourself specifically? So you may have learned things about the world based on things that happened, based on how people reacted to the things that happened in 2020. There was a lot of chaos in 2020. How did people react to it? How did people in your immediate circle react to it? How, what happened? And then what did you learn from that? And then what did you learn about you? How did you react to it? Where did you step up? What did you learn about yourself? And when you do that, it will kind of give you a little guidance into where you are, so then you can get where you want to be. We can't get anywhere that we want to be until we know where we are. And then what is now possible for the world at large? When you look at what's, as we move forward, to me, one of the things that happened in 2020 that before 2020, we've been doing this online business, not that long, but for a couple of years. But before 2020, people looked at me like I had three heads when I told them I had an online business. It was like, what in general, in my immediate circle, it was like not a thing that people related to, and was like scary to some people. I was warned many times, like I'm working with a coach, don't get scammed, you're going to get scammed. Like that whole world is still very present, but it was really far bigger in 2019. But because, and I've been using Zoom already for a while, and then in March, I spent most of March and April of 2020 teaching people how to use Zoom, because then I got just flooded with friends and family going like, what do I do? How do I get on Zoom? How do I, teaching people how to download it on their phones or whatever. So, but now, because of everybody having to go online, it's much more normal. So that was something that I saw shift. Now, what's possible in the world because of that shift, there's so much opportunity online, and there's so many things that you can create, that all of that becomes now possible for a whole slew of people that never saw it before. And so that to me is like spectacular and can be really interesting as we move forward. So as you look at, what's possible for the world, then it's like, what's possible for you? How does it shift when you start to see all of the things that are possible? As I look at, I was doing reviews of careers and businesses. We have business training, so I was doing reviews of businesses and what businesses are risky and what businesses are seen as one of the best businesses to go into. Online education was in the top 5 of businesses that are good to go into right now. I really feel like coaching is another one. Coaching, online businesses, that kind of thing is the future. Like that's where we're headed. And there's just so much opportunity there. So when you start looking like what's possible for you, you're already here. You're already ahead of everything because you're here watching this. So just by the sheer nature that you're improving your life or figuring out or listening to trainings, just that alone kind of moves you forward in your world and in your life. And so when you think of all of this, like what's possible for the world, what's possible for you, then it's like, what is it time to initiate and create? It's time. What do you want to do that you want to initiate and create that you haven't done yet? Or maybe you can be building on something that you've already created, but what is it that you want to do? It's time to do that. So if you step in, what is that thing? What is it time to initiate and create? I'm glad you made it live. Woohoo! So when you look at, what is it that you want to create, then what condition needs to be in place? I'm sure you can see all the sentences. What condition needs to be in place for you to create that thing? So when you look at your world, both internally, where do you have to be? And this goes back to the 2021 roadmap when we talked about values and your goals. And like, if you aren't in a place where you want to be, who do you need to become in order to do that? Because you've got some obstacles. So I highly recommend that you go back to the 2021 roadmap, which is hollywoodgatekeepers.net/2021 roadmap. And that's the numbers, 2021 roadmap. and go through those exercises because they will help narrow down exactly what you want to do. But when you think about that, what are some daily rituals? What are things that you need to put in place? Do you need to write every day? Do you need to work every day? Do you need to like work out every day? Like what external things, habits like that do you need to put in place in terms of writing every day, whatever it might be? And what internal things do you need to start working on? What are things that are blocking you? Are you not standing up for yourself? Are you running around doing things for everybody else and not yourself? Are you just stretched too thin? Are you taking on more? Are you overwhelmed? Like, what are some of the internal things? Are you depressed? These are things that if you're feeling depressed or you're feeling like overwhelmed or in any kind of despair, what are some of the things you can do to shift that internal messaging? And what are some of the external things that you can do? And they go together, taking walks, connecting with nature, taking showers, dancing, doing things, doing puzzles, doing tangible building things, touching things a lot. These are things that can help bring anxiety down so that you can start creating an external environment that affects your internal world. And then you'll be far better to be able to create whatever it is that you want. So as you look at what you want to put into place to make these things happen, what is the social context of that? And to me, this is one of the most important things. And this is why we do First Monday. This is why we do homeroom, because the idea of having a social support of people is hands down the biggest thing that will help move you forward. Like I have 100% feel that way, that yes, you need to take action on your own, but the more you can create a community that helps support you, the faster you'll go, the more fun you'll have. Even if I'm an introvert, might not seem like it, but when I do all the tests, I come in an introvert. I'm a writer. I love spending time, love being alone. I love my alone time. I love all of that, but I still want a community. And I think I'm always like, right on the edge, that I'm able to speak on camera live and stuff makes it seem like I'm extroverted, but I really love that alone time of being an introvert. But I also really get the importance of community, building a mastermind. And it doesn't have to be this big spectacular thing. It can be you and a few friends, or you and even like people in this group that you don't know yet, and you can connect together and just be consistent. We're coming into homeroom every single day at 8:30 in the morning, and people log in and we just work for 20 minutes and go like, what are you working on? We turn off our mics and everybody just sits and works. And there's something about that consistency that now I'm seeing people finish their screenplays or finish the course, the screen reader course, or whatever it might be. So if you can create that community, we're trying to provide that as much as we possibly can. It's why we do free trainings. It's why we do homeroom. We want you to have, it's why we have a Facebook group. We want you to have the supportive community. So if you feel like you need that, we are the conglomeration of the 5 people that we listen to most, not necessarily, which means that you could put headphones on. And this is kind of how I started down this path, was just kind of was going through some difficult times. So started just putting headphones in all the time and listening to people that could uplift me and help me move forward through some difficult times. And so when we start doing that, when you start really choosing who you're going to listen to, what kind of social people you want in your life, when you start filling your life with people that support you, then the ones that don't will stick out like a sore thumb. And then it's like, you don't necessarily even have to cut them out of your life. But if they are your primary influence and they're not supportive, then they're really affecting you. So the more you can kind of balance that with other people that then do support you, the less power this voice will have over you. So being able to, what are some social contexts that you can put into place? Who are potential mentors that you listen to? Who can you reach out to? Who's someone you want to work with? Perhaps they might even do a mastermind. Who knows? Like, it's wide open. But that social context is really important. And then how will that work? Like, what can you put into place within the next 90 days? So it becomes, and so as you can see, like, it doesn't really even matter when you start those 90 days. We're starting it today. Because what can you do today is the final question. But you could start this next month. It's fine. Like, it doesn't really matter. It's more about just putting a context in place for yourself, what works for you. So what can you do in the next 90 days to what they call inevitability thinking, which is when you put something in place. So what can you commit to? Can you commit to building a Facebook page? Can you commit to, we have a whole training in our HollywoodGatekeepers.free look session where you can learn how to build your own Facebook group. Can you put together your own online business? Can you take one step towards that? The more that you commit to something, the more you say, it's one of the reasons we do these trainings. By committing to these trainings, by committing to doing master classes, we keep moving forward, right? because we commit to you and you help us stay on track. And then you tell us what you think, need, want, feel, and then we go, oh, look at that. And we create the next thing based on what I mean, it's definitely a give and take. And so as you look at what can you create, what do you want, just, commit to something. And what can that be today? What can you commit to? What's one small thing? It could just be reaching out to one person. It could be a bigger thing where you're going to build your website. I don't know. It could be a big thing like that. Or it could just be, I'm going to make sure that I go for a walk today. I'm going to meditate for 10 minutes. I'm going to write one page. I'm going to read one thing in my screen reader program. I'm going to look at whatever. I'm going to look at producers for one day, like go into IMDb and see who I might want to work with. Like, what is the one thing that you can do today which creates inevitability thinking? And that is that it's inevitable when you start putting things in place like that. It just becomes your life, as opposed to it being your dream. It becomes like, okay, one step at a time. So that's our training for today. So go to HollywoodGatekeepers.net/free look to get this training and others, and then get this handout. And then we've put this all together. And actually, I'll put that training into free look as well. The Hollywood Gatekeepers 2021 roadmap. And that has the last 4 trainings from December, as well as today's training. So enjoy. And then don't forget, I keep wanting to say March, January. See, my calendar's all messed up. January 13th is our first masterclass at noon. It'll be very exciting. So super happy to have you guys here. Thank you so much. And we will see you soon. Talk to you later.